of the Palatine. This story, like all of the greatest stories in the world, begins with one woman. A woman in this case called Rhea. Rhea Silvia. Okay? Now Rhea Silvia was a priestess. She was one of the Vestal Virgins. You guys have probably heard a bit in your holidays here already, a bit from Paolo, about these high priestesses called Vestal Virgins. Rhea Silvia was one of the Vestal Virgins. She was quite an unusual Vestal Virgin because this Vestal Virgin gets pregnant. Early settlers here in Italy, not necessarily the brightest of sparks, but even they could spot something wrong when one of their Vestal Virgins got pregnant. They believed that this woman had broken her sacred vow of chastity. They were going to kill her. They were going to bury her alive. Traditional form of punishment for priestesses who were naughty. Okay, but Rhea Silvia was a very smart woman. She could outthink these guys. She comes up with a perfect cover story. She says, "You cannot hurt me, nor these children that I bear, because these children were not given to me by any man. They were given to me by a God." That's right, a God. An immaculate conception. She should have copyrighted that one. You harm me or these children. Who was declaring war upon the gods? The very superstitious settlers believe her story. Rather than incur the wrath of the gods, they let her give birth. She gives birth to twins, twin boys, but she is not allowed to keep them. She is not allowed to raise them herself. Their destiny is put on trial, put back into the hands of the gods. For the gods to decide their fate, the two newborn babes are taken away from their mother, taken away from Rhea Silvia. They are placed in a big wicker basket. This basket was set adrift, cast adrift upon a river, the river Tiber. For the gods to decide their fate, they're cast back into the world in a basket afloat upon the river Tiber. Now, according to the legend, these two boys truly are the sons of the gods, because the gods intervene. They flood the river Tiber, washing the basket containing the two newborn babes against the far banks of this hill. The river Tiber flows just the other side of the Palatine Hill. You can check on your map. The river flows just the other side of the hill. The two babes in the basket washed against the banks of the hill, where the basket gets caught up in the branches of a tree. As the river subsides, the basket is held aloft in this tree, where it and its contents get found by a lupa. Now, lupa is a local word, a Latin word. Lupa literally translates as she-wolf, a female wolf. A lupo is a male wolf. A lupa is a female wolf. These two human babes in the basket get found by a she-wolf. Now, luckily, they're found by a she-wolf on a diet. Because instead of eating these two human babes, this is the world's very first meal in a basket. Okay. Instead of eating them, she looks after them. She gives them her milk, keeps them warm and safe, protecting them, till they're eventually found and adopted by a local farmer. A guy who brings the boys into his own house and raises them as his own. He adopts the brothers. One of the first things he does for them is names them. He gives to them the names Romulus and Remus. And when they come of age, he takes them along to see a soothsayer, as was the tradition. Okay, soothsayer is like an old-fashioned fortune teller, okay, or village elder, to find out what's in store for the boys, how their lives will turn out, what's to become of them. I guess the modern would be a careers advisor, yeah? What was in store for the boys? This soothsayer tells him that one of the two boys is destined to start the most amazing city in the world. Two teenage brothers, just ever so slightly competitive, start to bicker and quarrel over which one of them gets to start this amazing city they desperately hope it's there. Over time, these quarrels, this competitiveness between the two brothers escalates and grows. So much so, they eventually start to plot against each other. One week, in a fit of jealousy, Remus hatches a plan to murder, to ambush and kill his own brother Romulus, leaving him to start the incredible city. But the night before this planned attack, Romulus had a dream. He was given a premonition. He sees the evil thoughts forming in his brother's mind and is armed and ready on the day of the attack. Remus attacking his brother no longer has the element of surprise and is quickly overpowered by Romulus during the struggle. Romulus sees his opportunity, grabs his knife and stabs his brother, leaving him for dead at the foot of the Aventine Hill, just over there, where the cars are parked. Okay. After leaving his brother for dead at the foot of the Aventine, Romulus, the successor, then climbed to the top of the Palatine Hill. And upon the crest of this hill, he built a house, the first fixed structure in this area, the House of Romulus, the Romulan hut. Around this house, he lays the foundations to a settlement, which donates his name. From Romulus, we have now the mighty city of Roma, founded according to legend by Romulus, building a house on the top of this hill in the year 753 BC, the year of Rome's foundation. If you wanted the exact date, it's the 21st of April. It's Rome's official birthday. Every year we celebrate parades through the street, the birthday of Rome, a week of festivities to celebrate Rome's birthday. Lots of candles, okay? As I say, it was founded 21st of April, 753 BC, about tea time. Rome was founded by Romulus, building a house on the top of this hill. This is the legend of Rome. So you see, Rome really was built in a day. And this is the day in question. This is where it all comes back to. This story, massively important to Romans, throughout history, throughout the ages. But still today, this story forms one of the major symbols of our city. I don't know how long you guys have spent in Rome. You cannot miss the symbols of Rome. The Romans are a terrifically proud people. They do tend to plaster their main symbols onto any flat surface that can stay still long enough. One of the main symbols of our city is the lupa, the she-wolf, with the two babes suckling underneath, Romulus and Remus. But to learn that happened right here, upon this hill. Now, as I say, the legend is massively important to Romans of today, but back through the ages, through history, okay? This legend is hugely important to Romans through the early settlements. Okay, when settlers, tribespeople were just arriving here, just starting to settle down, just establishing this place, okay, just starting to cultivate the land, they hear this legend. This will someday become the greatest settlement in the world. They feel a sense of local pride. They happen to have found it. Their descendants will become these great people of legend. Okay, this feeling grows within the Romans as Rome grew. As we move into the Republican age, the Romans start to feel they're getting there, becoming the greatest and strongest of all the tribes in this region, helping to educate and influence other tribes across Italy, okay, across the Mediterranean and eventually beyond. This story was so important to your average Roman street by the beginning of the Imperial Age that Rome's very first emperor, Augustus Octavian, the great nephew of Julius Caesar, the first emperor of Rome, wants to claim a connection, a kinship linking him to Romulus. So he too symbolically decides to build his house here on the Palatine, just as Romulus had before, symbolically linking the emperors, the imperial family, with Romulus, the first king, first leader, proving the emperor's right to rule. They built their palaces here. The first palace, the Palace of Augustus, was built in 27 BC. But throughout the imperial ages, each new emperor and imperial family move into the palace, it grows and changes organically, as each new emperor wants to make his own addition to his living space. So, you know, as Commodus wants a squash court and an indoor swimming pool, Domitian decides on a new conservatory. About 400 years of imperial home improvement and DIY means the palace grows and spreads dramatically across the hill, leaving us with the massive ruins we have today. That's what you can see inside of this site, guys. The ruins of the emperor's palaces. Okay? The word palace, this is a word we're all familiar with. The word palace, we all know and use this word, palace. The word palace begins right here.